Good morning, Singapore. We welcome Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Jerry. You know, when we looked at your topic this morning, we had no idea what you were talking about.
Actually, Angel had no idea what.
Okay, Glenn, explain.
Explain.
But before that, I just want to say that FD said the wrong thing the other day, Jerry.
What?
I'm just letting her know right now that he was referring to people as crazies.
Oh, every day he says that.
No, I refer to us as crazies.
Politically incorrect, right? Still, he cannot call us crazies, also, right? The word crazies is just a no-no, right? Please scold him.
Are you looking for validation from Dr. Jerry?
Yes,
No
he
lah,
is.
these days I'm trying to be politically correct these days.
But he's calling us that. It's fine.
Still just using the
No,
word
but you see,
crazies.
my point is, Angel is not offended by it. Are you offended by it?
I want to be hypersensitive.
No, are you?
Many people are
I'm
hypersensitive
asking
these
you a
days.
direct question. Are you offended by it?
I know I am a...
Are you offended
Yes,
by
I
it?
am offended.
Then I will stop using it. It's that simple.
Why? But what do you think? For other people
Right.
using the word crazies,
Okay, it whatever context it is, you're right. Let's try not to label. But this morning, you really sound like a little kid going up to the teacher to say, "Jua, the person called me name."
correct?
Did you hear that?
Because I've had enough of being squealed on.
She just
so now
called
I
you
will
a-
squeal back.
She just called you a little kid, though.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not offended by that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Jerry. She can
Yeah.
call him anything.
Correct. She can call me anything.
I
But really,
know wrong.
everybody stop using the word crazies to describe people, who have mental issues.
No, I don't
But
think people
the
are being
point is,
described as mental
I
issues.
did not use it to describe
No.
anybody with a mental
Please,
issue.
I know you've always felt like I have a mental
No, I
illness
do
or
not
something.
feel you have a mental issue. I feel you have a nose with no bridge, but I don't feel you have a mental issue.
You see, what is this? Calling people names.
Facial issue.
We learned this when we were in primary school, not to call people names. There you go, FD. Again.
Yes, you
Strike two.
You are bridgeless.
Oh my God.
See?
Wow.
Okay, anyway.
Anyway, let's
Who's
get down to
behaving
this.
like the child now, Dr. Jerry?
Why are we calling each other names? Ayo.
I enjoy
okay,
it.
we
It's
need to
great
go
fun.
on. We need
Yeah.
to go.
Okay, I tell you what, Dr. Jerry, I will shut these two up.
Okay.
Yes, lead the way.
Cheyenne, can you please switch their microphones off?
No,
Okay.
no. That's a rule. No mics should be ever switched off.
Okay, Dr. Jerry, moving
That's
on.
childish.
Okay, so what is main character energy?
So these kids always challenge me with weird sort of terminology. So there's main character energy. This is a Gen Z term, and I think Cheyenne was just asking for it. I asked her what topic I should talk about. And she told me, self-esteem. So that's how main character energy came about. Plus, also, I did a similar workshop last week for one of the polys, and we were talking about main character energy. So if you're looking at a movie, you're looking at a show, there's always a main character. So the main character there oftentimes has a lot of confidence, has a lot of charisma, has a lot of self-assurance. So the young people tend to look at that as something that they want to work towards. So they want that main character energy and to showcase that. So
Which is a good
that
thing, right? I mean, it's the main character energy is a good thing to work towards, right?
Well, sometimes the main character has a bit too much of it, or if you take it and you showcase it, you can appear quite arrogant, or you might be, a bit narcissistic, or you are masking something, you're covering up for something.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, possible. Cheyenne, is that the correct explanation of main character energy that you know it as?
Yes, basically.
Okay, so it is. Okay. Don't worry, Dr. Jerry, you got it right.
So you want to, so if like your superhero is Spider-Man, and you want to be like Spider-Man, is it?
Okay. So this
And
is
then
the
you go
little
up there and you try
exercise.
to scale down the building, and then you fall to your death.
Oh, no. Let's pick who your superhero is. So,
Okay.
Glenn, Angel, FD, all have a go at it. And Cheyenne and Shalini also can think about who your superhero is. So it doesn't have to be like a character. It can be a person also, who your superhero is.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
You know,
That's
now
why-
he is Dr.
that's why-
Doom.
That's why this buffoon has what do you call Iron Man tattoos on his forearm.
Now who's calling who names?
You started it.
Yeah, I did.
Iron Man. You want to be what? Tony
No.
Stark. Huh?
Okay,
No.
well, why do you want to be
Absolutely
Iron Man?
not. Because, and I'll admit it right now, I hide behind a mask.
I'd rather be Tony Stark,
Oh.
actually.
Nobody,
He hides behind a
nobody, with the exception of my wife, really knows who I am.
Wow.
Jerry, definitely you need one of your psychologists to see this
Why?
guy. He's hiding behind a mask.
Why? If I'm comfortable with my life that way and it's not affecting me, why do I need any kind of
'Cause
therapy?
I don't
for
know
it?
But-
who you are then.
but,
All
I
of a sudden
mean,
I'm uncomfortable.
Hiding behind a
Who is this
mask
guy?
is not allowing yourself to be who you really are in front of people, right? Which means that you live with a lot of secrets from people outside of your wife.
Because I'm a very private person.
But that's
They're
not
lying
secrets,
to
that's
everybody.
privacy.
They're
I think
lying
it's
it's
to
the same thing.
everybody
I don't
To
around
me,
think
it's
them.
the
so.
same thing.
Really?
Yeah, to me, it's the
They're
same.
lying to everybody around them?
No, I don't say lying. You're just omitting information.
I'm omitting information. I'm not lying.
Okay.
So what does Iron Man have? So think of the 3 qualities that you admire him for.
Okay.
So you can think about that. Glenn,
Okay.
who is your superhero?
Jesus.
Okay. And
That,
Angel?
and that straight away it's like, okay, next.
No, she's gonna ask you to think of the 3 qualities
Yeah,
that you
3
like.
qualities.
I'm gonna say my mom. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm gonna carry on and think about those 3 qualities as well.
Okay. And then Shalini and Cheyenne?
Your superheroes.
Who wants to go first? Cheyenne? Okay. Cheyenne and Shalini, I tell you what, we'll do them on the Big Show TV. How about that? Okay, FD. He's written it down already. I see
I've
2
got-
points.
Yeah, I've got 2. Anyone?
And then the girls, let's let the girls go
Ah,
first.
yeah, let
because
the girls go
You
now.
need to think as well, Glenn.
Heroes. No need lah.
Oh, you don't-
Jesus,
you-
like everything is there already. Like perfection.
You
Cheyenne?
still need to think, Glenn.
Okay. Cheyenne? Okay,
don't have
still
one
thinking.
yet? Okay,
Shalini,
Shalini?
Susan?
Anyone?
I don't think I have.
You don't
But,
have
but
any,
let me think about it.
don't have anyone or that you look up to, like a character or that you admire for everything that they stand for or that they do.
Okay, for me, peace, love, and wisdom.
That you admire. Okay.
So Jesus kind of embodies peace,
me.
love, and wisdom. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I will drink my kopi o kosong now.
And FG. Oh, FG is like so deep in thought. Oh my goodness.
No. 3 things I admire about him. His thought process.
Okay.
He has a deep-rooted, hidden streak of kindness.
Kindness,
Kindness.
but deep, deep.
Yeah,
very deep.
he doesn't bring it. It's not in the fore because he is arrogant, and arrogance is his shield, and he doesn't apologize for it.
But Iron Man doesn't have a shield, but that's Captain America.
Arrogance
Oh.
is lama oi. Budak ni.
Oh no. Okay, and then so thought process that kindness that is hidden deep.
Deep-rooted, yeah.
Okay.
And arrogance
more.
is a shield, and he doesn't apologize for it.
Oh.
He feels he doesn't have to apologize for who he is.
This mask that he's wearing, I'm only just discovering after 22
Are you
years
really?
of working with him,
It's not the real him? You don't know him at all?
Okay. Wow. Okay, think about these 3 qualities, okay? Angel, how about you?
I picked my mom for her resilience, her brutal honesty, even if it hurts, and her innocence, her gullibility. You know,
Yeah.
she's very naive in that sense. Not stupid, but just like. It's not possible for the world to do this to anyone. That kind of naivety, you know. So those are the 3 things I admire, because I feel like the world needs more of that kind of innocence.
Correct.
Where you believe that there is only good.
Yeah.
You know, in
Because
people.
there's so much distrust in the world
exactly.
right now.
And there's so much hate, and there's so much conflict, and there's so much, oh, you called me this, you called me that, I need to do this to you, an eye for an eye, all that stuff. So I feel we need a lot more of that childlike innocence in adults, you know, in people that make the decisions and rule the world, basically.
I feel like I'm a little bit like your mom.
Okay.
Because I don't think too much, you know. But if someone hurts me or whatever, then okay, fine, never again. And you know, it's like, okay, I'll cut ties with you.
No, but
then if
then
you hurt me.
that's not my mom. My mom's very forgiving. You know, even if you hurt her, she would be like, okay, you know, maybe it happened for a reason, or I'm sure, you know.
I know exactly what you're saying. My mom was the same.
I'm sure there was a reason for it, and
Yeah.
you know, that person didn't mean it, and let's give them another chance and stuff like that. So, she's very forgiving in that sense as well. I think I get that from her. I'm very forgiving, but I don't forget.
Okay, so just hold on to your superhero, as well as 3 values, 3 qualities or 3 values that you have mentioned for each of your superhero. Now, do you think you are manifesting these qualities? Because this is that main character. That superhero is main character. So, do you think you are manifesting this main character energy? So, don't have to answer me yes or no yet, because in that whole workshop that I was doing, some of the students actually say, I don't think so. I think I'm a side character. So quite a number of them mention that they are side characters, and that is what many of us who just go through life feel a little bit insecure. We feel that we are side characters,
like a sidekick.
Like a sidekick or a side character. That means not the main character.
You're a
one of
supporting
the
actor.
other characters. You know, and many of them would then have what we call the imposter syndrome. We have spoken about imposter syndrome in the past before, but this is when it really surfaces, when they are placed in a position of power, when they get an achievement, you know, and then they would say, oh, I don't know if I deserve it. Or very commonly when I see adults being promoted and they say, I don't know if I can do this job. Or when someone is given a very important role, then they might say, oh, I don't think I can do it, and it leads to procrastination. So that is sometimes a very detrimental impact that it can have when we don't believe in ourselves.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. It's Glenn Angel and the Flying Dutchman, together with our personal assistants, Cheyenne Lim and Shalini Susan. And we have our guest today, Dr. Geraldine Tan, award-winning psychologist from the therapy room with us. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Jerry. Today we're talking about main character energy.
Yes, and we are all main characters, whether we believe it or not. Yeah. So we
In
were
whose
talking
play?
about
Yeah, I was about to ask that question. In whose play?
In whose performance are we main characters?
Yeah.
in yours.
I like
In
that
your-
Okay.
answer.
Okay. That we
Because-
shouldn't be
and
playing in
I-
anybody else's, right?
Exactly. And this is something that I always remind everybody, because when you came into the world, you brought you, and you bring yourself in every environment, every situation, and you're always there until the very end, until the very last breath. You bring you along. So you're always the main character in your own play, in your own dance, and your own performance.
Yeah,
I
for
love
FD,
that.
he's in the movie The Man with the Iron Mask. He thinks it's Iron Man, but actually it's more like The Man with the Iron Mask, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. That was
I
a good
remember
movie.
that.
huh?
Yeah.
You know these main characters you talk about.
Yes.
As we're growing up, as we're children, I feel parents, especially when we're young, are the main characters in our lives. We are not.
They're your role models.
And how much do they then influence the main characters that we become?
They do, like for Angel, mom
Yeah.
Her
has
mom, yeah.
influenced her greatly, right? So you're not wrong. When the child is learning, they need to model after someone. So there's always that role model. And we learn and we pick up things that we want to continue. And there are other things that we might not find it so important, or we don't want to pick it up. And that's okay.
But Jerry, we learn good and bad from our parents, you know.
So if, let's say, for yourself, there's the thought process, there's the deep-rooted kindness, there's the arrogance, and having no apology for being who he is. There's, is it good? Is it bad? Is it neutral? Who is to judge? Right?
Society
So
judges you.
as long as you are comfortable with
Yeah.
it, Glenn can say, don't wear your mask. Angel can say, don't wear a mask. But if FD feels that that is the most comfortable outfit that he's going to wear, and it's not detrimental to him, and it's not hurting anyone,
With the back like that, he can't put on the Iron Man costume even.
who are we to stop you? Well, Glenn's just being kind now, you see.
Yes.
He actually has kindness worn on his sleeve.
He does. Yeah, he does.
does.
Dr. Jerry, I want to ask you something. I just want to go back to what FD said, because as a child, your
Yeah.
main character, and I mean, I'm not a child, but my main character is still my mom. But as a child, your main character, your main role model are your parents, or whoever the parental figure is in your life, right? So we start to, sort of model ourselves with what they do, how they behave, what they say, whether it's good or bad. When does a child start to play their own main character in their own lives? Because you said everybody is born you. And if you model yourself after someone like a parent, when do you start becoming your own character? Okay, maybe we can talk about that when we go on the Big Show TV.
I was about to say, hold that thought. Everybody switch to YouTube and the Facebook, channel that we have as well, the Big Show TV.
So when do you start becoming you?
They start practicing from the time they go into a social environment. When they start having awareness, there's a different way of doing something. So even children as young as like 2-3 years old, when they are placed in the school environment and they are doing something and they do it their way, and they realize, I can do it slightly differently. And they start to practice doing something differently. That is already them exploring. So, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Interesting.
But yes, that whole I think FD was talking about society judges. And we fall into that trap, right? We go to school, we go into different environments. Some people are even more sensitive. They're on the train, they're just walking, or even in their head, they think that people are judging them. They think that they are not good enough. So many of many of us fall into the trap of that social comparison. So social comparison, we tend to do it upwards, most commonly upwards or downwards. Upwards meaning I look up to someone and I think I am not good enough. Someone else is better than me. If it's downwards, I'll go, I am better than someone else. So there's always this comparison that is going on. There's always a good and there is always a bad. Now, either upward or downward, I would say it's no good at all. So some people think, but I need to look towards something, so they do the upward comparison. I need to improve. If that is all it is, it's good. But for someone that is lacking in their own confidence, even an upward comparison can bring them down, because there's this notion of I'm bad, therefore someone is better. Or if I do a downward comparison, is I'm bad, but there's just someone worse than me. So that's why I appear to be better.
But I mean, you're saying that we shouldn't look up or shouldn't look down, right? I mean, it's either way. It's not a great sort of comparison, and that what I'm trying to think and say is that you're saying that everyone should be treated equal, or kind of look at everybody on the same plane. Is that what it is?
Not really. It's not that everybody should be treated equally. So it's not that theory now.
Okay.
It's more how I see myself. Do I put myself down? Do I put myself down and therefore I'm bad, and I'm bad, therefore someone else is better? Because that is not a helpful thinking or thought process.
Jerry, what do you then say to someone who spent the majority of their life with the belief that there'll always be people better than you, but there'll always be people worse off than you?
Well, so it's not about putting yourself down. So there will always be people better than you, and we strive to improve ourselves. That in itself is not bad. It is when you think you're bad and you feel that you cannot get to wherever you need to get to. So going back to the imposter
Self-worth?
syndrome.
Is that almost like self-worth, not having enough of it?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's that self-confidence, and we always talk about that. The self-confidence, the self-esteem, and the self-worth. So all these different aspects are not strong.
Yeah, that's the worst thing when you feel like you're bad.
You're worthless. Oh, you're not worthy of somebody else's, say, attention or their level of lifestyle or whatever it may be that you look up to. So how does one go from? I mean, it's hard for us, I suppose, the three of us to understand, because we have certain levels of confidence. Maybe not all the time. I'm sure there are moments that we have that we don't feel as great as other people make us out to be. We all have our moments of less self-esteem, a little bit low on confidence and all that. But it's hard to imagine anyone going through their whole lives just feeling like that constantly. How do we pick someone up like that, or is it even our responsibility to try and help?
We can try to create the awareness for them, so that for them to understand their perception. So to create that insight for them. So that's the first thing, right? We want them to learn about their strengths. That's why, we always emphasize, what are you good at? What are your strengths? Then the other thing that we want to remind everyone is that you are imperfect and it is okay. Because someone that is struggling with their insecurities, with this imposter syndrome, doing all that comparison, they go, I want to be perfect. I need to be perfect. And that is a very troublesome thought, because no one is perfect. And we then need to accept that we are imperfect.
Iron Man is definitely not perfect.
No, I know him. Yeah, he's not. But no, in the Singapore context, though, that is a little difficult when we, from a very young age, are burdened with the term, you need to achieve excellence.
See, that's the problem, you see, because everyone is imperfect, and then, even our parents.
Yeah.
Okay? Some of them they're not exactly the wisest people.
Yeah.
And they go on and they preach, perfection and excellence and all that. And it puts undue stress on their kids. So that's a bad start already. You know what I mean?
Which I wanted to ask about, actually, does it stem from childhood? Because we model ourselves after, again, parental figures, parents, whatever they may be, older people, and then it just sort of builds on your own main character, which you may not have discovered yet.
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. We are talking to Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room about main character energy this morning.
Yeah, so Dr. Jerry, I was asking earlier, because our characters are built from when we were children, I mean, those are the formative years. If an adult is low on self-esteem, low on confidence, constantly thinks they're playing second fiddle to the world, they don't have any main character energy, even though they have a main character that they look up to. Does it stem from childhood? Does it stem from upbringing?
Well, it can. It may not always be the case. It could be. So we talk about some of the other syndromes, right? So imposter syndrome, we talk about like the social comparison. So it can be, the environment. So sometimes we go to certain schools and they're very competitive, and that whole environment causes a lot of distress in the students. So it could be within the environment that causes a lot of stress, and not, from childhood. It could be also, if you're talking about like clinical disorders, depression, anxiety. So these can also cause them to feel less than. Okay, so we also do need to sift whether they have a clinical disorder or not. But if you're talking about their own personality or character, and where it starts to build up from, and it is not strong enough, there is a possibility, if we dig all the way back, certain words are said, certain belief systems are being inculcated into the child since young. It might not be a bad thing. It might not be with bad intentions. It might be, I know Asian parents tend to do that. They want to encourage the child. So they do the comparison. Oh, look at that cousin, or look at that friend. Can't you do as well as that particular person? So their rationale is that they want to encourage the child, but they don't know the impact that it has on the child. And the child grows up thinking that, oh, you only like this cousin, or you only, look for this person. I'm always not good enough.
But sorry, Dr. Jerry, does that stem from the parent themselves being not confident, low on self-esteem, not having a great main character? Not great, but you know what I mean.
Well, sometimes the parents only know that method to encourage the child because they were dished out, their parents dished out the same sort of script.
And it's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Correct, because his parents don't pray for wisdom, you see,
Yeah,
that's why.
isn't it a vicious cycle? Yeah.
If you're not wise, then everyone becomes stupid one.
But it's wisdom as well as also empathy and compassion and everything else that
But
all rolled
It's
into
wisdom.
one.
Your prayers don't need to be very long. Just pray for wisdom. That's it.
Some parents use it as a motivational tool. Take
Yeah.
a look at your brother. Look at what your brother has done.
Yeah, but it's not great for a
No,
child,
but
though.
it's not good for a child
I
because
think
a lot of people,
it's the
a lot of people
narrative.
look at it and go, "Oh, you're affecting the child, and the child is going to grow up with this shadow
Complex, yeah.
But what you don't realize is, to a great extent, you are affecting the relationship between that child and that brother. I no longer like that person because that person has put a lot of pressure on me. And that's
Okay.
a terrible thing.
I mean, I think it's okay to have an older sibling or even a younger sibling as a role model, but I think it's the narrative that needs to be controlled. It's not so much like, look at what that person has done. Why don't you be more like that person? You know, that person's so good, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, more like, how can the two of them maybe work together to sort of have the same kind of influence on each other almost, you know what I mean? Like the older child is studying, you know, I don't know. I'm just wondering if it's a narrative that can maybe lead to the same goal that can be changed.
The problem with many of us is that we often look at outcome. We forget the process. So when we tell the child, you know, can't you be as good as someone else? We leave them hanging. We tell them the outcome, but we don't tell them how
to do
get
it.
there or what to do. So yes, there is a role model that we can role model after, but how can we get there is sometimes the tools that we need. And that's what we can then spend time sharing with the children, sharing with the other person. So it's no point saying you shouldn't be like that or you should be like that, but being specific to say there is one specific area that you can tweak and you'll be able to manage it a little bit better, or you can then study better, or you can, get to where you want to get to in a more efficient manner.
I like that. It's a process that people
Can
forget.
you imagine if you had
Dr. Jerry as a parent?
a main character? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Something like Dr. Jerry, because
Wow.
we
For
see
sure.
how she raises her kids. But I mean, based on today's topic, your main character. Can you imagine if your main character is someone who is going to love you regardless of how you feel about yourself or what you do?
That's what parents do, though. A lot
No,
of time.
no,
I mean, there are a lot of parents who are parents, but then there are also a lot of parents who have unconditional love for their children.
Parents,
and
unconditional.
yes, and no matter what they do,
No.
they can do no wrong, and everything
deep down
is
inside,
no.
unconditional.
There are parents
You know why?
like
because
that.
they are human after
No,
all.
No.
But there are parents like
It's
that.
true.
I'm telling
It's very
you.
different being a parent, Glenn. It's very different.
No, I know, but what I'm saying here is
Not
that
all
don't
parents.
think all parents are perfect.
No,
Just
no,
like
no.
you.
I'm
No,
not
no,
saying no.
You know what I
Even
mean?
I'm not perfect.
But everyone feels like, okay, I have done the best I can
Yeah.
to raise my kid, and then my kid does something wrong and you're disappointed. If your kid does something wrong and you're not disappointed,
You're not
then,
human.
Then you're
not human.
You're
Yeah.
amazing, lah.
No,
You know
no,
what
but
I mean? But what?
disappointment is
Yeah,
different from
but
unconditional
why then?
love,
Because
though.
if you raise your kid well, then your kid wouldn't disappoint you in
No,
that
be-
sense, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's not
No.
true.
No, that's not
It's
true.
not true.
It's
You
not
bring your
true.
kid
It's
up
not true.
well,
no,
and
no,
then
no.
It's not true.
But it's not about bad upbringing if your kid disappoints you, because
Yeah.
everybody makes mistakes. You
there
know?
are different levels of
Yeah,
disappointment.
but you're disappointed because you have a certain expectation, and disappointment only comes from your own
Own
expectation,
expectation.
Correct.
of a situation.
Right.
You know, so if the child doesn't meet up to that, then it's your own expectation that's left you disappointed.
Right. And then the kid realizes that he or she has disappointed the parents, and then the kid feels
Bad.
really bad
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course,
It's like,
yeah.
it's like a domino effect, So I think it's very complex.
I mean, if you
It
want
is very
unconditional love, get a dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
Because, dogs, animals,
Because they don't judge you.
they don't judge you for anything. They love you no matter what. You can stink. You can, not brush your teeth. You can, you can not feed them for a while. They're still going to come up to you and hug you.
Yeah.
You know?
Jerry, someone who's listening to us now and has stopped and has thought, I am a co-star in my life. What do they do now to begin that journey to become the main
Superstar.
character?
Yeah.
So remember earlier I got everyone to think, and for the listeners and for those that are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, think about your superhero also. So earlier I was talking about the superhero and also the three values that you like about your superhero. And again, we look at the three different values. Actually ask yourself, do you have those values? It's a very interesting thing. So for Glenn, you mentioned Jesus. Peace, love, and wisdom.
See, she laughs.
I wasn't laughing. I was
Every time
snickering.
we mention,
I
like,
was snickering.
she always laughs. Look. If he can say Iron Man, I can say Jesus.
I am
right?
not laughing at your choice.
She's like,
You can say anybody you want.
You can.
Okay, carry on.
So, peace, love, and wisdom.
Yeah.
Do you think cognitive first? Do you think you have those?
First and foremost, I feel.
You're not Jesus.
Of course, I'm not. I'm absolutely
Yes.
not. But I look towards him, right? Because I feel like there is unconditional love from him. So if
Yes.
no one else in the world loves me, I know someone loves me. Unconditionally, no matter how bad I am. And that gives me peace. And that makes me feel love. And only when I feel love can I go on to love
Others.
other people
Yeah, of
around me
course.
as well. So that is my basically the good place,
The foundation.
if I'm feeling down or I'm feeling really bad, and as a result of that, I would say I'm constantly praying to be wise, to make wise decisions for that
Okay.
wisdom. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's all I think about. And as a result of that, I feel much better. So I don't overthink. I'm not an overthinker.
Yep.
But whenever I'm in a rut, I just focus on those things and it makes me feel better.
That's great
But
that
it's
you have a
so
place to
important.
go. Yeah.
That's an interesting
That's so
take.
important, right? Because Glenn said the important phrase of working towards.
Yeah.
You don't need to get there. You don't need to say that I am this. That's why I
Yeah.
said immediately you're not, that main character. The main character is that role model.
And I just want to
And-
say this very quickly in case some people misunderstand me. I'm not preaching religion here or whatever. This is my own personal way. Good morning, Singapore, and welcome back to the biggest and best breakfast show in the world. We are The Big Show. And with us this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay,
So yeah, you were talking about, Glenn, what was it? Peace, wisdom, and love. Is it? Is
yes,
that what you
peace,
meant?
wisdom,
Yes.
and love.
Yeah.
Working towards.
Correct.
And that's the important phrase that you gave us. So we might not be there, we might not need to be there, but we can be working towards it. So let's look at Angel. Angel, you mentioned that mom is resilient, she has brutal honesty, and she has that sweet innocence.
I feel like these are qualities that I have as well. I don't know if I was born with it or whether it comes from upbringing, because the household was filled with that sort of that honesty, that innocence, yet I saw that resilience throughout, and I still do.
I just want to bring up something
Sure.
because when you first mentioned innocence, you went innocence and gullibility.
Yeah.
You actually had you feel you had that?
Absolutely. Yeah. You can fool me anytime.
Well, gullibility
Yeah.
is something
Yes,
I would
I've
not.
fooled her
Yeah,
many
it's easy.
times.
No, I mean. but-
No, okay. I think gullibility is a bit of a stretch. I would say I give everybody the benefit of the doubt
Okay.
Yeah.
that they're telling
Yeah.
the truth. For me, it's true first before it's not.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I don't think these are characteristics I'm working towards. I think these are characteristics that I'm maintaining, and I don't want to ever lose them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So
Yeah.
you do have that, within yourself. FD. Iron Man's thought process, his deep-rooted kindness, and having that arrogance without an apology for who he is.
I can't believe you analyzed Iron Man, so much. As in, like,
That's okay.
right?
Yeah.
When Marvel came out with Iron Man, I lived that life.
Oh my God!
No, he was. I started to remember comics I read.
Okay.
It was massive for
Yeah.
me. Iron Man was
So you really
massive.
want to be Iron Man, lah?
No.
You think you're Iron Man,
No.
lah?
I see myself like that because I'm comfortable in that.
That
I
characteristic,
believe
yeah.
there is Tony Stark. And then there is Iron Man.
Okay.
And when Stark is in that uniform or that suit, that is his shield
From the rest of the world.
from the rest of the world.
It is.
So I understand that mask and that shield. I completely understand it. And that arrogance he has without ever
What's
having
that sound?
I don't know.
Dr. Jerry is playing
Yeah.
with paper.
Oh.
That arrogance,
My paper.
It's your paper, yes.
that
So
arrogance,
sorry.
yeah, that arrogance that Tony Stark has, and not being apologetic for it, is what gets me into trouble today. Because I don't believe I have to apologize for myself or my beliefs.
That's good though, because you're comfortable with what you believe in.
Yeah,
and
but it
you're-
gets me into trouble
That-
today.
Who cares
Ooh.
about what other people think? You know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying it does get me into trouble these days.
With who?
Many people.
Not
Do you
us.
care about
because
them?
I do.
You care about these people.
Yeah, I do. But
Okay.
I tend to offend them because of
Are they close to you?
some of them. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Iron Man is your strength. Like whenever someone like offends
my-
you or makes
the
you
mask-
feel
the
small,
mask-
you think
The mask
of
is his
Iron
strength.
The mask is
Your protection.
where I go, where I can be myself.
Which is home. Yeah? No?
No,
Oh,
not
it's
necessarily.
So yeah, this fellow is very complex.
He's
I am very
complicated.
complex. I do not. I
Very
do not deny it.
complicated.
I do not deny it. I'm very
very
complex.
complex.
I'm very very complex.
But the mask that you mentioned is that arrogance and the no apology
Yeah.
of being who you are.
Yeah.
So that is a quality that you can continue to embody if you are comfortable. That means if you're not, it's not hurting anyone. You're not frustrated by it. You can always continue to have that.
Are you frustrated most of the time, FD? These days,
I think he gets easily frustrated.
I get easily
That's what I feel.
I think it's the brace that's making you feel frustrated. Actually,
Oh, to no smaller.
it's cutting off some either blood supply or oxygen
Tomorrow
supply to
is
the
his
brain.
last day, so
no. Tomorrow I find out if it's my last.
it's
day.
your last day tomorrow. Okay.
Hey, what last day?
No, on with the brace.
Oh.
Glenn
Tomorrow I
Ong.
get
Oh
to-
my goodness. We were just talking about the brace.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Dr. Jerry?
Yeah, so some people still feel that, they need to be that main character. So the whole idea of main character is you are the main character in your life. So if, let's say, your main character energy is actually, your superhero is actually a co-star in a movie, that's fine. That's your superhero. It's not a co-star in someone else's movie.
So it
Yeah.
becomes your main
It
star.
becomes it becomes your superhero. And
So it
that's
could be Robin of Batman and it doesn't matter.
Yes.
It could be,
Yes.
yeah, I can't think of any sidekicks. Who else is there?
Kato
Like
from the
Kato,
Green
oh,
Man.
yeah.
From-
yeah,
So old, that one.
some James Bond movie, and they have the sidekick, or they have the women there.
Or the Bond girl.
See, I don't need any
girls.
sidekicks.
Because your main character is Jesus. Who is
Correct.
Jesus' sidekick?
That's why nobody, man.
Okay. I just want to get Glenn's reaction
Okay.
to
You
this.
talk about supreme leaders.
But
That's the
Jesus
supreme
did have
leader.
his sidekicks.
Okay.
The people.
He had he had his disciples.
Oh.
They were the ones who went out and wrote the books. They were his supporting cast.
But aren't Jesus's okay? Let's not get religious.
No,
but
but-
aren't
yeah.
Jesus's disciples everyone who believes in Jesus now? Right?
I'm
mean, I'm
getting
just saying.
Glenn's thoughts.
No, you're not. I mean, there are people who are watching right now who will, for me, that's the problem, you see? That's the problem with you. You are focusing on everybody else. I'm not focusing on anybody else.
Right.
I'm just focusing on one.
On one.
That's why it's less complex, you see?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why focus on everyone else who is just following him when he is the supreme one? Right? That's
No,
the
granted.
that's how I look at it.
No,
Yeah.
that is important. Glenn, what you're saying is focusing on your own superhero and not start broadening it and focusing on everyone else that is in that story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is important because sometimes we forget and we start bringing in this person, that person, we bring in the whole community, and then we bring in the world.
Correct.
Yeah, then there's too much to deal with and we can't deal with it. So focus on your own superhero, focus on developing those qualities, recognizing that you actually have been either working towards those qualities or have already embodied those qualities. That forms the bottom rung of that self-confidence to create awareness for yourself that you have those abilities, you have those capabilities. And then the next level of self-esteem is trusting in these abilities, trusting in that core that you have before you can even reach the last level of self-worth, which is giving yourself that value.
Yeah.
And at that time, that's when you become your own person. I mean, you've always been your own person, but after that, is that when you don't need that main character model in your life anymore because you are the main character, and then you become a main character perhaps to somebody else.
Yes, you
That's
feel
the ultimate?
more grounded. Yeah, so you want to feel more grounded, you want to feel more stable and not constantly craning your neck and saying, I want to be that person. And then you feel very unstable. Like, you're in a crowd and you're looking out and you're trying to look for that superhero and you feel like you're teetering, on that whatever that you're standing on.
Wow, that's interesting.
Super.
Nice.
Okay. I think we're gonna we've got one more, right?
This is the close after
The
this.
closer is coming up,
Yeah.
in about a minute. Okay. All right. Yeah, this has been interesting.
What about people who can't find a main character, Dr. Jerry?
Someone that they admire, someone that they adore. Yeah.
There are people who can't find that.
What if they can't, or like Gen Zers and A's and what have you, whatever is after that, they may be fickle and constantly change the main characters in their lives because there are lots of idols out there as well, and a lot of idols are main characters in a lot of kids' lives and adults. So what happens then? Because then it's so schizophrenic, right? That they're all over the place. That are like, no, I want. It's okay.
It's okay. So if you ask someone, so all of us also go through that because in primary school we have a different role model, secondary school, and then we go through different phases depending on what we are exposed to. So it was very interesting, in that whole workshop because I had people saying, some students saying Loki, Thanos, Goku, and then some of the other anime sort of characters. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, and in another phase of their life, it could be someone else, and that's okay. Yeah, because they look towards their values, not just the person themselves, because the person means nothing.
And that's why it's so important for celebrities to really be celebrities and personalities and sports people and what have you to really be really good role models, like everything that
But
they
it's hard,
do.
huh?
It's
No, it is
hard.
hard. I know that they're only human, But they also have to remember that they have a certain role as a public figure and responsibility because you've chosen that life
Right.
to be proper.
But you see, I
role
wouldn't want to
models.
be a role model as well. I mean, if I were one
Yeah.
of those, superstars.
But you are a role model now.
Yeah, but
you know.
I don't want to be.
Yeah, but
a
you
role model
have
because
you've chosen this.
Glenn,
Because
Glenn and I are the same.
Yeah.
That's concerned.
But
because
you
I
can't.
because
yeah.
I know I'm not like I'm not
We're not
good. You know
Yeah,
what
but
I mean?
you
It's
don't
like-
have to be
Yeah.
though. You don't have to be perfect
Yeah.
though.
In
You know.
fact, the role model, I will always want to encourage people to look at the role model that is real, because there is always that embodiment of a part that is we perceive as imperfect.
Yes.
So where
Yeah.
Angel said, that being gullible, being vulnerable. So some people might interpret it as imperfect, but it is okay because that is being human.
I mean, you don't
So-
want to always be that role model on Instagram or Facebook that always looks perfect, always
Yes.
lives the perfect life. When in the back room, you're kind of like, all
Correct.
sloppy and like a mean person.
I'll be the
and
first to
whatnot.
admit I have many vices.
You are,
which
and
is
you
why
are
I cannot
authentic.
be a role model.
No, you can be a role model because you're real. You're authentic. People know that people drink, people swear,
Smoke.
whatever they do, people smoke, people, whatever it is that they do, but it makes
Once in a
them
while.
real.
Yeah.
I will share this. I will share this because Angel said, "Oh, it's nice to have Jerry as a mom," but just last night, my big boy says, "Oh, but mom, I'm embarrassed with you." I feel like, "Oh, wow."
He's at that age, though.
Yeah, we're still working it out to try and figure out, but that is, something that I'm appreciative. Of course, I felt like, oh, horrible,
No,
but that
don't.
is something that is wonderful that I can go through it with him. I'll let you know, when we figure it out.
He's a
and what-
teenager. He's allowed to be embarrassed.
Okay, we're
It's
going
fine.
on air one last time. Anyway, Dr. Geraldine Tan has been our guest this morning. She, of course,
Yes.
is an award-winning psychologist from the Therapy Room. If you need any help, get in touch with them at the Therapy Room. Okay. Somehow I feel like FD. If FD was one of your clients, you'll be making a lot of money. A lot of money. He's like, I think maybe 10 people in one.
He holds
He's
a
got so
space.
many layers like an onion.
He's got Richard Gere in him. He's got Iron Man in him. He's got actually, you know what? The tattoo of the Avengers. Every single Avenger is in him.
It's in you.
But if I'm comfortable that way, then
He's basically saying, what problem is it of yours, Glenn?
Oh.
That's what he's saying.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, lah. I mean, if you need therapy, which I mean, we've admitted here that we enjoy talking to
We do.
Dr.
I
Geraldine
do.
Tan on a weekly basis. If you need therapy,
Further sessions.
to talk to Jerry, well, you can. Not Jerry, because there will be a conflict of interest.
Exactly.
But how many therapists do you have there at the therapy room, Jerry?
Well, total string, about 10 of us, I think.
10. Every day, you just see a different one.
Oh, dear.
Just go around the room.
FD is fine. Okay, let me end it with a quote from Charles Xavier from
Oh my God.
X-Men.
Charles Xavier. Patrick Stewart.
Perfect.
Anyway, I just caught Deadpool, by the way.
Was that on purpose,
Deadpool
Dr.
was-
Jerry? Did you know that he was
Yeah.
going to say he was going to go with the superheroes? FD. No, you didn't. Okay.
No. Not at all. So
Charles
but-
Xavier.
but
I'm surprised. Okay, go ahead.
Charles Xavier, one of my favorite. So he says the greatest power on earth is the magnificent power we all possess, the power of the human brain. So that's
true.
him. Yes.
I wonder whether he really means it. I wonder whether Patrick Stewart really believes in
Patrick
that.
Stewart is just playing the
He's playing the
character,
character.
Glenn.
Okay.
You
yeah,
know
which
that-
is why, I mean...
You know the Smurfs are not real as well, right?
No, but she quoted Charles Xavier, which is why I was
which
quite
is the
surprised.
character, yeah.
That
She's
she
not
quoted
quoting
Charles
Patrick
Xavier.
Stewart.
she's not quoting Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
She's quoting Charles Xavier.
What
Yeah.
he said, yeah.
But I think
Yes.
Charles Xavier
Yes.
is being a bit insensitive because some people kind of like after a while, if they get dementia or Alzheimer's and all that, he's not taking those people into consideration
Okay, Glenn.
by saying something like that.
Moving on,
I'm
Glenn.
gonna say goodbye. And
Yes,
I will
thank
use
you.
how Iron Man says goodbye by saying "I love you 3,000."
Oh,
Well done,
I like
Jerry.
that.
I just want to remind everybody that Iron Man is dead.
He's coming back as what is his
Dr.
new
Doom.
Doctor Doom.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerry.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye,
See you
Jerry.
next week.